Hello, I'm Zidane, and this is Conversations I Wasn't Ready For. This is a space where we bridge generational and cultural gaps through conversations we didn't grow up having. Conversations about mental health, identity, relationships, family, and everything in between. Here, people share their stories, not because they have it all figured out, but because we're still learning, unlearning, and trying to understand ourselves and where we come from. Some conversations are heavy, some are healing, all of them are human. If you're looking for real feelings, real stories, and real connection, you're in the right place. Thank you. First off, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm Zidane's father. I'm also the founder of Imari, and it's a mental wellness application for diaspora communities. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. So, I feel like we always use this word love, and we never know what it truly means because it comes in so many forms. It could be an action, a saying, a feeling. So, let's go back to when you were around my age. Let's say 17, 18-year-old you. How would he have defined love back then?
Oh dang. 17-year-old me. Shoot. Well, back in the days, there's not really much like way to easy communicate with people. I remember like when I was either in high school or even in college, like we would be in hallways and we would have this like thing called palanca. For Filipinos, it's like these like papers where you fold into like sort of like a triangular thing. But in the paper itself, it's like your letter for somebody special. And that's your way to communicate with people, right? Because there isn't like phones or like really something that you can use to easily text somebody and just like, okay, hey, what's up? And um, those papers would usually be like long as like letters. And I remember I had like a crush back then too. Like we would literally exchange these palancas every time we like switch classes, right? And that was like even a small like gesture to just say, hey, I want to chat with you, like I want to like just connect with you. And I think
Mhm.
that was like some form of um I guess effort, right? Especially because um you would have to think through like what you're gonna write, right? You have one chance to send out what you want to say to a person, and especially if you have interest in that person too, like
Mhm.
you have to really make sure that whatever you're gonna say also is gonna like resonate to the person or just sort of just hit.
Mhm.
So that's just like that small thing that I found like sweet, but also like it's just really form of gesture to show how you feel
Mhm.
for that person. And that could be like for a crush, but also for like people you just get inspired or just generally speaking love.
Mhm.
And these small efforts was already a big deal back then because of course the constraints, right? So I think
Mhm.
that was yeah, what I think what love would be when I was young.
Yeah, so really just small gestures, small acts of kindness.
Hmm. I think
Yeah.
for the most part, it's just really making those efforts, right? Because everything is just really accessible now. But back in the days, you really have to put that sort of extra mile and effort to
Mhm.
like express something because you don't really literally
Mhm.
get to easily connect with people that much.
Yeah, cuz like nowadays we have like phones and social media and everything and like dating apps, so it's really easy to just like talk to someone when back then you'd like actually have to go out of your way to go up to them, talk to them or give them something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the main thing too. Like
Mhm.
for us back then, I mean, literally technology wasn't really a thing.
Mhm.
So I mean, even the older generations, like if you think about it, if you even remember, if you see movies, like there's these telephones, right? With like those circly thing when you try to dial
Mm-hmm.
and try to connect with a person. I do also remember there's literally always like one line in the house, right? But it's only one person who can actually use that line because
Mm-hmm.
it's costly to use
Oh.
it. And I just remembered I was even trying to even call like this one person that I'm interested to, and literally my mom was on the line, and I would like pick up the phone and I would hear their conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just one line. And my mom would be like, okay, please hang up the phone, like, I'm using the phone right now, I
Mm-hmm.
just gotta wait until like literally she's finished talking to somebody, like, and it's gonna take so much time to do so, and by the time that I use the phone, it's already late in the night. That type of friction, or that type of like effort
Mm-hmm.
to show that you wanted to connect, that you want to, you know, express some
Mm-hmm.
some feeling in some sense, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that that person would,
Yeah.
understand, realize, okay, hey, this person is,
And
something.
there's a lot of barriers that you
Yeah,
have to pass through.
right.
Now, over the years, after so much hardship, so much um, stages of life you went through, how has that definition of love evolved? What do you think of it now?
It definitely evolved a lot because I mean, you have a lot of experience in life, in different forms, whereas like there's love for family, there's love for, generally relationships, right,
Mm-hmm.
or partners, or love for animals, say. So for me, if you want to double click, say, for family itself, I mean, family is a big thing for Filipinos, right? Because we're very collective, we're very together.
Mm-hmm.
There's that togetherness. In short,
Mm-hmm.
there's that kapwa is what we call it, and that applies even with family too. Because I mean, for us, family is like blood. Family is like, through thick and thin. It's like
Mm-hmm.
whatever shit that you guys would go through, you'll be all sticking
Yeah.
together. And when I was young, I felt like, okay, I have these expectations about my family, right? Because there's this form of hierarchy, and you would imagine, like, if you were a kid and you had a parent, you would always think that they're going to be there for you, present always, and all that kind of stuff. And I would always either complain, like, okay, why my expectations are not met, right? Because I was
Mm-hmm.
young. As I grew older, I then realized, like, okay, hey, you know what, there's different life circumstances that we have to
Mm-hmm.
consider, and choices that older generations had to make, whether
Mm-hmm.
that be through for survival, right,
Mm-hmm.
or like just literally they have to be their own person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I really realized, okay, hey, that's you know their best way to show some form of love, because that's what they can provide
Mm-hmm.
during the time. And when I realized that, I knew from the get-go that I was just really young back then.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, now that I'm experiencing different types of challenges, I would do the same, right? Like, I would give what I can give, and that's my way of showing my form of
Mm-hmm.
love. And love now shouldn't be more circling around expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when people think like love is like you're also expecting people to accept the love and understand the love that you can give.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, we have different types of like way to show love.
Mm-hmm.
And then I understood, like, okay, wait, maybe for me love is this, and then for them that love is that. And then now that I think of it, the mere fact that they're even just
Mm-hmm.
present, like, gives me the idea that, okay, wait, they're just showing up differently, and maybe I'm not
Mm-hmm.
understanding it the way I should understand that this is the
Mm-hmm.
way they want to show their love. So I think being like an adult now, and just putting all that expectations
Mm-hmm.
down, and just see these people as they are,
Mm-hmm.
is what I really learned. And that's when I really appreciated them more, because when I show my love to them, like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you don't really have to expect much from me, but
Mm-hmm.
rather look at what I do and what I show, and
Mm-hmm.
understand that that's my form of love. for you, right? And that also comes to even relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because especially with like couples, it's really hard, especially back in the days when I was young. Like they would think every day, just hanging out would be just a form of, hey, we're really together. It was very important for us to just find like even a schedule. If you're even at school, right, you have different classes, right, and
Mm-hmm.
the only time that you can meet up together is when there's like, lunch break or whatever, and then, or maybe even after school. And if you don't see each other, sometimes it's felt like, okay, wait, what's going on, like, are you doing something else? But it was different because, like I said earlier, to the friction of communication, it
Mm-hmm.
was harder to just even say, hey, I
Yeah.
have some plans, I'm doing something else, versus today where somebody can just text you and say, hey, I won't be
Mm-hmm.
available today, right? So it was really hard to like just literally understand, like, okay, where you're at, or like what is going on, and you just have to be persistent and be
Mm-hmm.
patient and wait if the person would show up. And especially for Filipinos too, like, I think because of that collective mindset, you will always
Mm-hmm.
think like, hey, you have to always be together. Like you always have to be hanging out or
Mm-hmm.
something like that, because that's just a form of connection. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the only best way that you can do so, because
Mm-hmm.
that's the only opportunity that you have back then, is just to wait and hopefully see that person and just say, hey, okay, this is our hangout space, and we
Mm-hmm.
always see each other because we're together, kind of thing. Um, but as I grew older, like I realized, like, okay, not all really people are available. Like we all have our own
Mm-hmm.
thing. We have like, other hobbies to do, or things that we're interested to, put our energy to. And that's when I realized, okay, hey, you know what? We are just like, you know, floating. We show up when we can show up, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, I love you less. It's just
Mm-hmm.
that's the best way that we can possibly, show that
Mm-hmm.
we do want to be with that person, or
Mm-hmm.
we have that feeling of like love, and still grow, right? Still grow together.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, like back in the Philippines, Filipinos love just being together, togetherness, even connections to, like, literally, if you think about it, if you're in a relationship, you'd want a person, or your
Mm-hmm.
person, to be texting you every day, or at least in the sense
Mm-hmm.
to just say, hey, okay, I'm still here, I'm connected, right? But now that I grew up, like, I mean, that person don't really literally have to text you every day. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it shouldn't be that like basis or sign that that person still love you. The mere fact that they're just, they're showing up when they can show up, and can, like, just even put an energy, even if their day has been really tiring, to just connect and say, hey, hi, or how are you, should be more than enough.
Mm-hmm. So, in your words, love is like it's a choice, it's a sacrifice, but it's also taking care of yourself as well and making the choice to grow together with this person.
That's right.
And would you say that to love someone else, you have to love yourself first?
That's right. Yeah, I think that's the main key thing, right? Because what we don't realize is, like, and part of why I'm even, like, putting up this platform for mental health, is the best way that you can possibly even love somebody or something is first working inner, meaning you have to love yourself in order for you to fulfill yourself first and overfill. And with that overfill, you'd be able to give more, because love shouldn't be like draining. I keep telling you about this, about the
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 cup
the
analogy,
cup
right?
analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, where, if there's a cup, and in the cup there's water. The water itself represents your energy, your love for yourself, and how much you're filled. And when you accept another cup, and that's another person that you're loving, that other cup would be able to benefit from the love that you're given, if you are overfilling, right? You're basically able to share that clear water.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also highlighting clear water because that is a big factor to relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because clear water represents how much positivity you can provide, or how much good energy you can provide to that other cup.
Mm-hmm.
If it's murky water, then it's not going to benefit the other cup too, because that other cup would also be murky eventually,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's going to be just really tainted. And so, you want to be able to give the best is what you can give with whatever you have.
Mm-hmm.
um, and again, going back to the idea of overfilling, like, it needs to be overfilling because it shouldn't drain you. And there's type of cups where they couldn't fulfill themselves,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so what you end up doing is you're just filling the water over and over again until such time you realize you're already drained. And when that time comes, like, there's not really much anything to give, and you're just so depleted, and you sacrificing yourself,
Mm-hmm.
sacrificing your own cup, and what only you can give is maybe literally nothing, to a point where it's not going to work anymore. Maybe even nothing. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't even give anything back to yourself, and that would also eventually be a repercussion to yourself, because there could be other things that you need to put other water to, but you couldn't give any more because you need it for yourself as
Mm-hmm.
well. So yeah, that's the idea. Yeah.
I know many people and so many of my friends and even myself at some points. How, if we're, let's say, in a relationship, how would you know if you're already feeling drained? When is the time to break away from that other cup?
I mean, you would definitely feel drained when you find yourself forcing yourself to do something when you were able to easily do that before, right? Like,
What's an example?
say for example, like before, you can just easily make the time to show up for this person, even texting and chatting all the way throughout the night,
Mm-hmm.
and just have so much topics to say or whatever. And it was so easy because there's just so many things to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
and you can easily engage. But there will come in a point where there's nothing else to say. And that's just even a small thing, to be honest. Like,
Mm-hmm.
literally, everybody could be in the same situation where you have nothing else to say and you're just there. But for me, that's even also a sign, because then why do you end up doing nothing or saying nothing else? And there's other factors to that. Maybe because you're spending so much time just being in this bubble for the longest time,
Mm-hmm.
that you haven't given yourself the time to learn other things or explore, right? And that's
Mm-hmm.
another way to fill your own cup. And if you can do that for yourself, then there's more to say, there's more stories to share.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you just kept giving, 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 and then get drained eventually, that's where you come into a point where you have nothing else to say, because
Mm-hmm.
you're literally doing nothing but just this, or just being in this bubble for the longest time. So, in other words, you need to find ways to fulfill, to make yourself
Mm-hmm.
like happy, or way to add more water to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
so that later on, it's just all going to be just fluid, meaning to say you have so much more to share. You have so much even things to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
not just whatever's going on within a relationship or whatever you see out there. It's just more about just like positive things, like growing, whether that be, okay, hey, today, you know what, I spent my time doing some hobby, or I've done something to make myself happy, or I've literally learned something new. Like, wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
that be like good things, right? To even talk about, not just
Mm-hmm.
like maybe whatever happened in your life back then, because you've already like pretty much said all that story, maybe
Mm-hmm.
even over and over again, because like that's the thing about being in new relationships too, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like having a new person in your life and that you trying to do a lot of catch up because this person
Yeah.
doesn't know you that much, right? So you have literally so much to say and you're trying to kind of pour that all up
Mm-hmm.
because you want that person to understand who you are
Yeah.
and what's going on and all the shape and story about your life.
Mm-hmm.
And when the time comes where you nothing else to say, right? It's just that point shouldn't end there. There's that moving forward thing where
Mm-hmm.
that's where you're also figuring out who you are as a person and trying to also fulfill yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to do that in order for you to also show the other person, or just say show up for the other person, just to say, hey, I'm also molding to this thing,
Mm-hmm.
and you can share that part of the story, whereas you just stop here. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we as people, we change over time. We go through different challenges and we shape into like newer, better, and like different versions of ourselves
Right.
over time.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that's the thing too, like that's something that I don't think people realize,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not like you're also loving the person as who you met them.
Mm-hmm.
You have to accept the fact that the person that you're also loving is changing, and part of that is growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to support that growth too as a partner, because back to the analogy, it's not just one person filling the cup, but it's two people sharing one cup, the same type of liquid. And if the liquid is not clear, or at least clear enough,
Mm-hmm.
then you end up just either draining yourself, or we'll circle into that negativity. That's why
Mm-hmm.
in relationships, going back to your question, like, you wouldn't really know when you're drained, when there's nothing else to share, there's nothing else to give,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not giving yourself that water in
Mm-hmm.
order for you to give more. So if you have nothing else to do, you have nothing else to even share, you drain your own self.
How do people then not mistake that feeling for just the spark going away, or like the honeymoon phase ending, and like they're starting to argue a lot, they're starting to show their true colors? How do they differentiate that phase with actually like your own cup is just draining and it's like it's being harmful to your health?
Well, I mean, it depends on like how you show up
Mm-hmm.
as a partner, right? Even say, for example, um, you're just early partners. That could be even just how do you label it, the honeymoon phase,
Mm-hmm.
right? Think about it as even the start of the honeymoon phase, or in the middle of honeymoon phase. Like, do you start finding yourself seeing that sort of like repetitive pattern where it's just not really fulfilling each other anymore? Meaning
Mm-hmm.
to say, you're just giving the same type of energy over and over again that you think wouldn't really sustain you eventually later on, you know?
Mm.
And to me, it's really important to set that expectations even at the start of the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to think, okay, hey, is this something that I can stay consistent until later? So it's either you end up even just draining even through the honeymoon phase or within the
Mm-hmm.
honeymoon phase, or you just drain right there and
Mm-hmm.
then. And you have to check yourself in order to understand that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to ask yourself, hey, am I just doing this because I'm just so excited? I have just so much
Mm-hmm.
dopamine right now. I'm just like so in love, and I'm just gonna give all my effort and all right now and done.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it as like, okay, can I keep doing this until later? Like, okay, maybe during the honeymoon phase you'd say yes, right? But I mean, for me, in my own experience, I've gone through so much relationships to the fact where I realized, yeah, during honeymoon phase, I'm gonna be all in, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
just gonna be all giving. I'm just gonna show up. There's no type
Mm-hmm.
of arguments. It's just like keeping each other happy,
Mm-hmm.
and like until when the point where you now knew the person you're with, It's like, hey, hey, wait. Why did I even like this person now? And like those small things you
Yeah.
find annoying, not annoying before, now annoying now. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and that's because you're also draining. Like you're just too focused on just trying to give and give and give until a point where you have nothing else to give, and then you start noticing small things.
Mm. It's like when you give like so much of yourself without like refilling your own cup, you eventually just run out of
Yep,
things to give.
yep.
Mm.
So like I said, whether which whatever phase you're in terms of relationship, it all comes back to asking yourself, is this does this feel good? Like, is this something that I can stay consistent of? And that's when you know.
Are there certain signs that you can look out for, like red flags you can look out for to see that in advance, or maybe if you're in the situation already, like how are there certain signs people can look for?
Ooh, this is actually even tough because this is something I'm also working on, right? I mean, it's not easy to spot on because, like I said, especially if you have that lot of dopamine, like that excitement, like, okay, wait, I think I found that person. This is my
Yeah.
person, and I want to literally find a way to just keep this person, make this person happy. And because you feel like you're happy on the moment, you think you gonna stay happy, right? Until when? Until I don't know how long, because of all that factors. So the only way to think about it for me is like in the moment when I'm in a relationship, you have to first do two things: look at yourself and look at your partner. What I mean by that is first yourself and say, hey, is am I legit? Is this literally me? And am I doing something that I know I'm not forced to do just for the person to like me? But rather, I'm just being genuine right now, straight out to the point, and just see every single thing that you can see about me that you can possibly even hate about later or now, and just be that legit, because either way, you'll see that eventually later on.
Yeah.
And that's the sign, right? Because you should know yourself, like literally even just every day, just showing up. It's simple as waking up, like, I don't know, in the morning. Are you even a morning person, to be honest with you? Like, and then you would be a morning person for this person because this person would want you to be a morning person, or like just want to show
Yeah.
or just hang out in the morning, and then later on you realize you wouldn't keep that up because you are not really literally a morning person. So it's
Yeah.
just can be that simple. And basically being that genuine is very important straight out, even as the starting phase, because that person should know who they're dealing with or who they are actually literally liking, because it's just it's just like wearing a mask, and that mask eventually will fade out later on. Like it will literally melt by the time you start arguing or just finding differences about each other, and you cannot keep up anymore with those expectations that you put to yourself. And then the other part is also your partner, that relationship. Like you have to see that person like even through, like meaning to say, sometimes people, like I said, too, can show a facade, and the only time they would be able to see, okay, who you're dealing with, who your partner is if you get into an argument later on. It will come to that point, and you would find, okay, hey, wait, why is this now being an issue, or like why is this person reacting this way? Like before she was sweet or whatever.
Yeah.
Or she would literally just listen to me and say, hey, okay, understand, I was supposed to say sorry, and then now it all comes down to an argument that she have shown something, another version of herself that you didn't see before. And you would start asking yourself, hey, wait, what, who is
Where
this?
did this come from?
Where did this come from, right? Like, I mean, wait, what? I mean, I thought, I mean,
Yeah.
you'd start asking
It's like
those
their
questions.
true colors.
Yes, they're true colors. And sometimes, it really takes time to see that. It's really hard when you're like in the moment where you just really want a person to be in your life.
Yeah.
But you have to be also honest. Like you have to just say, hey, this is what I like about you, right?
Mhm.
But show me who exact or what you exactly like, okay? So that way
Mm.
we both from the get-go would understand, okay, are we really a match? um and people, I mean, relationships have different flavors too. Like, people thrive through differences
Mhm.
or similarities. It depends. And it's just good for you to also set that like baseline, that level, that that expectation for yourself, that you'd be able to live through either the differences or the similarities, because there's pros and cons either way.
Mhm.
Either way, yeah. So yeah, I think those are the main 2 points that I would say help you from the straight out. And the red flags would be, especially, is if you come into a point where you see something else from this person, or maybe even hear from someone else that say, hey, wait, um blah blah blah, her name, whatever, is not like that. Or maybe even a close friend would say, hey, well, that's new. Or I guess you
Mhm.
just start to just like
Yeah.
feel or hear these questions around the people that actually know this person,
Mhm.
that it's not like the person that they know, it's
Mm.
something else. And it sometimes like feel weird in a way, because you know this version of that person,
Mhm.
and you would start questioning now, okay, is this
You
like,
don't know this other version.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, you don't know about this other version. So
Mhm.
it's either you try to find out that other version,
Mhm.
or you'll be able to accept that other version.
Mhm.
But the main point is whether that is a red flag for you or not. The key thing is to just be legit, straight out.
Be yourself.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So, as an immigrant and as a Filipino American, how did growing up in the Philippines shape your perspective on love? And how do you understand it compared to the love that is portrayed in American culture?
I think I alluded to this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
In the Philippines, it's all about kapwa, right? Togetherness. And part of like kapwa is also showing up, like just really, literally just putting all the effort that you can possibly give,
Mm-hmm.
because you want to keep that connection together.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
What exactly is
it's like really
kapwa?
service. I mean, sorry, kapwa.
Yeah.
Well, kapwa is about being together, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
It's about having this form of community, whether that be through just even the family, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
in a setting where you have, your sister or brother, or your
Mm-hmm.
mother or your father, and you would show up for them, um, either way, regardless. But it's just that unwritten expectation that regardless, when you see each other, you would always give this form of warmth together, and you would also provide like service, and that's something that is being reciprocated.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's like what kapwa like means to me. Going back to what you're saying, it's that always form of like togetherness in the Philippines that could be either, even a family celebration. Like, you always find this thing, with Filipinos where, um, you really have so much, I don't know, family ties or family connection to
Mm-hmm.
one person, right? And you end up, realizing you have so much cousins, or you have so much, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Um, and when you all come together, everybody is just like in
Mm-hmm.
the moment of having fun. And what keeps us connected is food as well,
Mm-hmm.
or even karaoke's too. Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll see that a lot. And the titos or the uncles are either drinking on the side, and the titas or the mothers are all like chica, or like talking on the other side, and you find the kids kind of like just playing around,
Mm-hmm.
the house. But that to me was like what it means to
Mm-hmm.
be together. Um, and here, what the difference for me is, it's just more about how you can give the time. for a person or something.
Mhm.
Because it's a different dynamic here. It's a lot about individuality here, right? And you have to survive and to figure out things yourself. Whereas in Philippines, like your titas, titos, your mother or your father would literally just coach you or even just show you the way. Whereas here you have to be able to stand up for yourself to survive, right? And for people to show up for you in those phases is the key thing. And that's what I think is a form of love, because not all people could give in the moment, because they're also trying to figure things out there for themselves, and they're also trying to navigate their own lives. So just literally just showing up is already a big deal here. And support meaning like it could be either a person that you can just talk to when you don't have the good days, or if you can ask a person to hang out and that person would make the time for you to do so.
Is there a time you ever felt absolutely and undeniably loved?
Well, it comes back to what your form of love is, right? Like we all have what I accepted the fact that love can go in different forms, right? And it can be given in different forms. And there's no level. To me, love, like I said, could be as simple as just showing up. But you will realize this as you grow up, and it doesn't require the person to have the same language as you.
Right.
You would only know if this person is gone is when literally they're just out of your life. It's if you try to make that connection, but that connection is not anymore there. Then yeah, there's not any more love right there. Either that person has, I don't know, passed away or what. But what I'm just saying is like people would find that energy to still connect with you if they do so.
Speaking of growing up and what I'll experience growing up, as my dad, you've been there for me through my ups, my downs, my lefts, my rights, my challenges and wins. As I'm transitioning into adulthood, and as other people who may be watching that are also around my age and transitioning into adulthood, what is one piece of advice that you would give? Something that you wish you would have gotten when you were my age?
Just be yourself. You only have one shot in this life, and you only can keep that mask for too long. Like you just have to be as genuine as you could possibly be, because in reality we are all unique as a person, and it would take the right person to love you as you are. And if they couldn't accept the fact that this is what you are, then that's not your person. And I'm not also downplaying the words in a way that they should just love you as you are. You should also know when you're too toxic, right? When you're putting up too much negative energy. Like a lot of it goes down to you working on yourself too.
Yeah.
Because you should, like I said earlier, check yourself, right? Like, okay, hey, is this like something that I can sustain, or is this something that I shouldn't do or whatnot? It's like you have your own like anchors, like your values.
All right. Thank you so much for your words, your input, your insight. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. And we end this podcast with a Filipino tradition called Isang Bagsak, where we clap our hands in unison and then we end with one big clap. Ready?
All right, that's
Would
it.
you please join me?
Yeah.
All right. done. Bagsak.